3 pillars of Stoicism that will solve your problems. Most people believe their problems come from the world around them. A difficult boss, a broken relationship, a lack of money, bad luck. But the Stoics saw something deeper. They believed that suffering rarely begins with reality itself. It begins with the story we tell about reality. The obstacle is not always outside us. More often it is hidden inside the mind that judges every event before understanding it. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire plagued by war, disease, and betrayal, yet he wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." He wasn't speaking in poetry. He was describing a way to live. Today, we'll explore 3 pillars of Stoicism that have guided people through centuries of uncertainty. They won't erase every hardship, but they will change how you meet them, and sometimes that changes everything. Pillar 1. Master what you control. Imagine standing on a beach, trying to stop the tide with your hands. No matter how hard you push, the ocean never argues. It simply continues. This is how many people spend their lives. They fight other people's opinions. They replay yesterday's mistakes. They worry about tomorrow's uncertainties. They exhaust themselves wrestling with things that never belong to them. The Stoics offered a simple question. Is this within my control? Your effort is. Your character is. Your choices are. Everything else is borrowed from chance. Epictetus taught that freedom begins the moment we stop demanding control over what was never ours. Every ounce of energy spent trying to manage the uncontrollable is energy stolen from the one thing that can actually change your life, your own response. Think about the last problem that kept you awake at night. Was it the event itself? Or was it the endless attempt to rewrite something that had already happened? The past asks for acceptance. The future asks for preparation. Only the present asks for action. The moment you separate what is yours from what is not, your mind becomes quieter. Not because life becomes easier, but because your attention finally has a place to stand. Pillar 2. Turn every obstacle into training. Most people ask, why is this happening to me? The Stoic asks, what is this teaching me? There is an enormous difference. One question creates resentment. The other creates strength. Iron becomes useful only after enduring intense heat. Likewise, courage is impossible without fear. Patience is impossible without delay. Wisdom is impossible without mistakes. Every hardship carries the raw material for a stronger character. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that every morning he would meet difficult people, not because he enjoyed conflict, but because expecting reality prevented disappointment from controlling him. When you stop expecting life to be comfortable, discomfort loses much of its power. The next criticism you receive, the next rejection, the next unexpected setback. These are not interruptions to your journey. They are the journey. The obstacle becomes your teacher. Failure becomes your classroom. Even pain becomes a mirror, revealing where you still depend on things outside yourself. The strongest people are rarely those who avoided difficulty. They are the ones who learn to use it. Pillar 3. Live according to virtue, not emotion. Modern life encourages constant réaction. One angry comment ruins the day. One compliment inflates the ego. One bad headline creates anxiety. We become emotional weather vanes, spinning with every passing wind. The Stoics chose another path. They believed that your peace should never depend on circumstances changing in your favor. Instead, it should depend on the consistency of your character. Ask yourself, can I remain honest when lying would be easier? Can I remain kind when bitterness feels justified? Can I remain disciplined when comfort calls louder? Virtue is not something you perform when life is easy. It is revealed precisely when life becomes difficult. Anyone can remain calm during calm seas. The true test comes during the storm. Seneca wrote that no wind is favorable for the sailor who has no destination. Virtue gives you that destination. It becomes a compass that continues pointing north, regardless of how violently life shakes the ship. When your identity rests on character instead of outcomes, success no longer makes you arrogant, and failure no longer destroys you. You remain steady. Not because life is stable, but because you are. Final reflection. Problems never disappear completely. Every generation faces uncertainty. Every person encounters loss, disappointment, and change. Stoicism never promised a life without storms. It promised something far more valuable. A person who can walk through storms without losing themselves. Remember these 3 pillars. Control what belongs to you. Transform every obstacle into training. Anchor your life in virtue rather than emotion. At first, these ideas seem simple. But simplicity is often mistaken for weakness. Practice them long enough, and you'll notice something remarkable. The world around you may remain unpredictable. People may still disappoint you. Plans may still fall apart. Yet inside, a quiet strength begins to grow. A strength that doesn't depend on applause. A peace that doesn't wait for perfect circumstances. And a mind that no longer asks life to become easier, because it has finally become stronger.